New in version 6 of CabinetSense are closet systems. In this segment, we'll show you a lot of the new features that we've put into the software that helps designing and manufacturing your closets a snap. For this demonstration, we'll be using a CabinetSense template that comes in the library that you download from the website. This template has 4 tabs, and in the Project tab are a couple of key CabinetSense components. The Project component deals with information that is general and global to the model. What banding thicknesses, material thicknesses, how you want to construct your cabinets, down to where you want to place your cabinets along the wall, the height of your upper cabinets, etc. As well, the template section will detail what template we're using to help us manufacture our closets. In a later segment, we'll show you how we set up the machining database to place all of our drill holes to make our closet systems work. We'll use the CabinetSense wall tool. We'll start with a wall of 3 feet, run along the back for 8 feet. I can also jump into plan mode and draw it that way. Go 10-foot wall, come back, and over 3 feet. Let's start by placing our corner cabinet. We'll go into the browser, pick out the component that we want, and drop it into our model. The cabinet aligns to the corner walls. We can also go into plan mode again and move our cabinet around, and notice how it snaps back to the walls. Let's place some fillers so that we have the necessary adjustment room when we go to do our install. We'll take a filler, place it along our back wall, and you'll notice as I move up and down the green axes, if I hold my shift key down, the green line bolds, and that allows me to move my mouse, and I'll use SketchUp's inferencing engine to position it along the small wall. On our left wall, we're going to have a 2-bay component that we're going to put clothes on each side. So I'll look for a 2-bay closet component. I can snap it to the wall. I can touch the side of the cabinet that I want it to align to. And now I want to fill the remaining space. And I can do this in a number of ways. I can use the SketchUp scale tool. And again, using inferencing, just touch the edge of the filler. Another way that I can do is by using a CabinetSense function called fill. And fill will take a look at what's on the left and the right of the component that's selected and find the open space and fill it for us. We can go ahead and place our bays along the other walls, but let's stop and take a look at this one set of bays that we have already placed. Let's go into perspective mode. And again, what we want to do is have 2 sets of clothes racks, one on each side. And what I want to do is have our bays be the equal size. So the new in version 6 again is a dialog that helps us manage our opening widths. And I can try to calculate what it is, or I can simply say equalize. And now they're exactly the same opening width. To drop our subcomponents inside these bays, I need to place the bay into edit. Now that I've done that, I'll go down and select my one rack of clothing, and you'll notice the subcomponent has no walls or no ends, and it will use the ends that it finds in the bay. All of the drilling and machining information is housed in this subcomponent that I just dropped in. And all of the machining will transfer to the outside panels of our closet bay. On the right side, I want to find a component that has clothes on top and maybe some baskets on the bottom. Now I know that I don't have that specific combination in my browser, but this one's fairly close. So I'm going to drop this one in, and I want to modify it. Now, when you're in 3D mode, sometimes things can kind of get in the way. One of the other options that we're using is the CabinetSense Scene Management Facility. That allows me to select walls and add a new scene with all of the cabinets that are associated with those walls. I'll call this left wall elevation. I'm going to turn off 3D. I'm going to face the cabinets toward me. And now I have a view that's unobstructed and allows me to easily work with this bay on the right. I'll double click to go back into edit mode, single click to select it. And if you're looking over on the right hand side, I'm at something called a container. This was the element that I initially dragged and dropped into the right side of the two closet bay component. If I double click again, I'm at the cabinet that's inside that container. Double clicking one more time, and now I'm at the individual parts of the cabinet. I'm going to get rid of the doors, get rid of the parts inside. I don't need the drawer as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this shelf, place a basket on top of it, and one of these will become the shelf for the closet rod to hang underneath. So let's go ahead and delete this guy. We'll borrow this one and reuse it. Going into the SketchUp Move tool, I'll grab it by the lower left-hand corner, start moving it along the blue axis, hold down my Shift key again, and use SketchUp's inferencing engine to place it at the exact same spot as the other shelf. I'll grab this basket. I have a shortcut key for the SketchUp Move tool. I'll just drag it up, hit my Control key to make a duplicate, and set it down. It automatically jumped to the top of the closest shelf. And I can move around things to make things appear more normalized. Let's go into our design elements, and we'll pick up a closet rod. Drag it in and just place it close to the shelf that you want it to hang underneath, and CabinetSense will manage it and place it for you. Take some pants and do the same thing, and we can move them around. Clicking outside the box backs us out of the edit mode, and now we're back to the model in general. Switching back to perspective, and we have their left wall done. So let's go ahead and finish off the rest. I'm going to work in plan mode. Go back to our main section of closet components. I'm going to grab the filler again, drop it on the right wall, use inferencing one more time, position it here, and I'm going to do the same thing, hit my Control key, inferencing, and place one at the other side. On the right wall, we'll have clothes, a cabinet, and more clothes. So we're looking for 3 bays. I should mention that the bays is nothing more than a CabinetSense cabinet. And if you look at the parts, it's just turned off the back and the bottom and parts that we don't want. Going back to this, I can use inferencing again, stretch it to the width I want. Along the back wall, we're going to have a shoe rack, a cabinet, and a shoe rack. So that's 3 more. We'll grab it, drag it out, and use inferencing to stretch it. One of the things, because we're going to have clothes here, we need a little bit of a filler space so that when our clothes overhang, it's not hitting this end panel. And so in fact, what we're going to do is we'll put a filler piece in here, but that means we'll need a 4-bay component. I could remove this, put in a 4-bay. I can also place the cabinet into Edit, drag the partition, make a copy, and drop it. And now inside the right side, I'm going to go back, find the filler that I want, and drop it in. Let's go to perspective and kind of show you what we're building. Let's just open this up a little bit. Let's drop the clothes in. And so you can see that this is where we want this filler, just to give us that extra room for the clothes. So I'll go back to this bay, manage our widths, and I want that right bay to be 12 inches. And now I'm going to hide the end panel. So going over to our component options, just take the right end and say that you don't want one. And now we have 12 inches spacing here. Gives us lots of room for the closet or for the clothes on the other side. Let's finish off the right. I'm going to go ahead and set my widths. And maybe what I want is 36 inches for my leftmost bay and 20 inches for my right. Leaves me with 33, just over 33 inches. And so maybe I want to make them, kind of the same size. I go 34.5. And they're roughly the same size. And so if you wanted to, you'd have to do a calculation now to make them equal. Going into Edit, I think it'd be better if I put my long or my tall clothes rack on the left side because it's not used as much, and we'll place the 2 racks on the right. Grab my tall clothes and go look for the set of cabinets that I want to put in. We'll finish off the right or the back wall. Let's set our dimensions. So maybe I'll use 20 inches for a shoe rack, 20 inches on the right side. Gives us 29 inches roughly for the middle cabinet. Double click to get back into Edit. Let's pick up our shoe rack, move it, Control to make a duplicate, and position it on the right side. Place the cabinets that you want. And now in this case, I want to bump out this middle cabinet so I have more drawer depth. I'm going to select my partition, and using my insets, I'm going to back out by 101 millimeters. And the reason I'm using 101 is that in my closet systems, my standard cabinet depths or closet depths are 305 and 406. So everything I've been placing has been the 305 millimeters. So if I want to jump to a deeper depth, I'm going to keep it in my standard depths. Oops, need another M. And we'll do the same thing for the middle. And the reason why I want to keep them to my standard depths is so that all of my machining holes line up. So that's the way I've designed my closets. You can design them any way you want and set up your manufacturing to be the way that you need it to be to support your depths. We have pretty much finished designing our closets. And I think now is a good time to talk about manufacturing, drill points, System 32, and how we can make your manufacturing for closets really simple. Let me turn off the grain and the color. One of the CabinetSense functions is to preview where all of the machining holes will be placed on your cabinet. If I go into X-ray mode, so what this is showing you is I'm going to be using a Rayfix connector. Here are our line boring holes, 32 millimeter spaced, and this Rayfix connector is actually using the line boring hole. If we go down to the next fixed shelf, it's a bit of a problem. Instead of using the line boring hole, CabinetSense has determined that it has to drill its own hole because the line boring hole is not in the proper spot. And so to rectify this, we really want to move this fixed shelf up enough so that it can use that line boring hole. Looking at the shelf below it, it has the same problem as well. So another new option in version 6 is the ability to turn on a cabinet or your entire model onto a System 32 specification. So if I turn this cabinet onto True 32 or System 32, CabinetSense will review that cabinet and change the height, change the position of fixed shelves so that everything lines up with our line boring of 32 millimeters. So before I hit enter, just watch the two shelves and they'll move slightly. If I go ahead and re-preview the holes, now we're using the 32 millimeter line boring holes. Okay. We're going to add crown molding to our closets. Right now, we're very close to the 8-foot wall, so let's go ahead and reduce the height of our cabinets. And we can do that one by one. We can also use the CabinetSense change height feature. I'll simply type in -4 for -4 inches, and all of our cabinets will fall by 4 inches. Again, with System 32 turned on, it will still have to conform to the System 32 strategy, so it may not move it exactly the request. And you can see here, the cabinet on the right, which isn't the System 32, fell by 4 inches. The cabinet on the left, which is System 32, stayed in movements of 32 millimeters. I'll go back to the project component and turn the whole model on to System 32. In the right-hand corner, you're seeing that CabinetSense is evaluating all of the components in the model. And now our heights are the same. Let's go ahead and place our crowns. We'll create another view. And I'll simply call it Perspective 2. We use Profile Builder to draw our crowns, and it's a great extension to do not only profiles, but so many other things. And simply drawing your crown. Another new addition to version 6 of CabinetSense is that it will now pick up the number of pieces and the length of each piece and the total overall length of your Profile Builder crowns. and it will appear in your bill of materials. We can go to SketchUp material list, pick up the eyedropper, and paint our crowns. Also, all of the edge banding in CabinetSense is white at this point in time, so let's change it to be more specific to our closets. Going into materials again, click on Home and look for a white swatch that is called CS Banding Front. Click on it, select Edit, and use the eyedropper, and simply click on the color that you want it to be. Let's finish off our model by completing our elevations. We have our left wall elevation. I'll do one for the back. Do one for our right wall. We can use sections to hide parts that we don't want. Whoops, that's not what I want. Let's grab something like that. Hide it. Again, turn 3D off. Click on a part, say face me. If you didn't want to see the accessories, you can turn off that layer. And CabinetSense has a layer dialog. Okay. And you could do the same for each one of them. Okay. Okay, now we could start dimensioning our model and then using layout to bring all of your scenes into the layout documentation to produce your final set of documentation for your client. And we'll look at that later on in another segment. That's pretty much it. That's how simple it is to design. And stay tuned for more segments. Thank you very much for watching.